1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Give me the power I beg of you.
Hey listeners, welcome back to another episode. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Ricky.
And we are Paper Screen. So Ricky, what have you been up to?
Well, I finally watched Tar with Cate Blanchett.
Lucky.
Yes. My opinion, without any spoilers, I liked the movie, but I also didn't like the movie.
Okay, so it's not like a fave?
No, and definitely not Best Picture. Yeah, but Cate Blanchett is really good.
Yeah, she's always amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and then I watched The Fabelmans, which was surprisingly really good after I literally was just talking shit about it.
Right. Well, they marketed it not in a great way.
Yeah, like in the trailer, you think it's like about like this kid that wants to make movies. But it's like deeper than that. But that part about him making movies was like something I connected with. And I was like, is this fucking play about us? Yeah, that's what I've been up to. What about you?
I didn't finish the book, but I marked it read on Goodreads because I'm like, you know what? For what I did read, I'm counting it, and I'm never going to actually finish this shit. It's called Tampa by Alissa Nutting, and it's like porn about a female predator teacher, and it was so disgusting and disturbing that I couldn't finish. And I usually like to read disturbing books because of like this, it's like escapism or whatever.
Yeah.
I also think like disturbing books are like less predictable. But this was like on a whole different level. Like she was like infatuated with one of her students, and she'd go park outside his house and then like masturbate looking.
Oh.
Yeah, like it was so, and like the way she talked. Oh man. But I guess the book not changes, but she gets in trouble.
Yeah.
Like it is, but, and then I was thinking it's probably supposed to be like, how like Lolita is supposed to be disturbing?
Mm-hmm.
I do think that Tampa's supposed to be disturbing like that too, but I just couldn't read it. Wouldn't recommend it.
Is the author known for this type of...
No, she has made other things. Made for Love, Unclean, Jobs for Women and Girls. I would definitely check out her other books because she seemed like, a good writer, but I just couldn't handle like the pedophile stuff. But yeah, because the teacher, it's not like a college professor and a student. It's like a 14-year-old student or something.
That reminds me of that one show.
Yeah, a teacher. Yeah. But she's kind of doing what we always see, but with male as the predator. But this is like, putting female as the predator and stuff, which is good, like that, because that does happen, and
yeah.
But I just couldn't stomach it.
Mm-hmm. Shall we move on?
Yeah, let's. So, if you haven't guessed yet, or you didn't read the title of the episode, we're going to be talking about two amazing movies. One called Child's Play, starring Chucky, which has turned into a huge franchise. And then the other is the new movie M3gan, Model 3 Generative Android. I think we're ready to talk about today's first movie. So
everyone has seen or heard of this movie, and if you haven't, that's very sad of you. But I understand if killer dolls is not your thing and you're traumatized. But this movie is Child's Play. It's about a single mother who gives her son this toy, this doll that's like very popular. And he's been wanting this doll for a long time.
And it's a show.
And it's a show called Good Guy. And he wants this for his birthday. So his mother buys it for him, only to discover that this doll is actually possessed by the soul of a serial killer, Charles Lee Ray. It's starring Catherine Hicks from Seventh Heaven, who you cannot stand.
That's right. This is the most I can stomach her, though.
Alex Vincent and the legend Brad Dourif, who plays the iconic doll killer. It's directed by Tom Holland, not to be mistaken with the Spider-Man from the MCU. It's written by Don Mancini. He's a queer filmmaker, queer writer. And then we we have John Lafia and Tom Holland, who co-wrote the screenplay as well.
You may have heard of Tom Holland because he's been playing Spider-Man recently.
Yeah, Peter Parker. And married to Zendaya.
They're like my favorite lesbian couple.
I don't know why we're talking about this. We're off topic.
Do you want to hear about the budget for Child's Play?
Yes, let's talk about the budget.
$9 million. Which I feel like was a lot.
Yeah, because like when did this movie come out? Like
1988. So I was 1 year old.
I wasn't even born yet, so.
I know, it's embarrassing for me. And guess what the box office was?
10?
44.2 million.
Whoa. Wait, just for like the first week or like gross?
Gross.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's gross.
Yeah, that would make sense, right?
Yeah, but I still feel like that's a lot for a $9 million budget of like a horror movie.
Yeah, and plus like the sequels and stuff. And now there's a TV show.
Right. I was going to say, I'm sure it was kind of like Jaws where there's a lot of word of mouth. Because this was our first possessed killer doll or whatever, you know? I know I'm like trying to think if there's any like old, like black and white movies, but I don't think there were. It was probably like illegal to make something like that.
Right. Like way to traumatize children. Leave it up to the 80s.
You know something? It hurt. It hurt like a son of a bitch. It even bled. And why is that, John?
You're turning human.
What?
The more time you spend in that body, the more human you become.
You mean I have to live out the rest of my life in this body? No fucking way! You got me into this, you get me out.
What was your experience seeing this for the first time?
You know, I don't remember how old I was when I first watched it, but I never saw it the whole way through. I've only seen bits and pieces, and I was just like, it was scary back then.
Yeah.
But watching it as an adult, it has become more of a comedy to me.
Even Child's Play?
Yeah. There are some parts I'm like, oh yeah, that is kind of scary. Like that ending when he's all melty. Like, it's got some good jump scares, too. Like, I forgot about, like, certain scenes.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize there was a lot more action than I remembered. Because, like, that whole car chase, too. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I didn't remember the car chase.
I don't remember this detective, either.
Your doll? It was his doll's footprints. He goes, your doll?
So I rewatched this on my flight from Minnesota and like totally forgot the whole storyline to this, like the plot and everything, except for like the mother and son part. But I love the Chucky franchise, like love the one-liners. It's a classic.
It's so good. So my experience was I watched this when I was really little, elementary school, and scared the fuck out of me. I would spend my whole like childhood being so scared of Chucky, but like needing to watch Chucky. And then I went through this phase where like I had to like rent every horror movie I could and watch it, and it would like scare the shit out of me, but it was just kind of this weird thing, kind of like a drug. But yeah, Chucky and Freddy Krueger were what scared me the most. But I think Chucky scared me the very, very most. Because there's something about even his like aesthetic, like his outfit, everything.
It's his face too.
Oh yeah, he's like hideous, but he's fucking scary. Even though, yeah, he is like a jokester, it's like strange, but
yeah.
I mean, it probably was something to do with like it being the first like horror movie other than It. I don't know which one came first. But my sister said I was younger than whatever I said on a previous episode about seeing It. She was like, you were younger than that. Yeah.
We sound really old.
I know.
All the Gen Z kids are probably like, you thought that movie was scary?
I know. You're like, what movie?
Yeah.
But yeah, I rewatched Child's Play, I think while you were in Minnesota, right? Like,
yeah.
And I watched part 1 and part 2 because after I finished part 1, the poster came up for part 2, the one where it's Chucky and there's a Jack in the Box and he's about to cut the Jack in the Box head off, and like I just like flash back to being a kid and thinking like that was like the cool like
Yeah.
cool cover.
It was.
And then I also was like, I remember that one being my favorite, like being the one like I thought was the best. And it is totally because it's like the kid is a little bit older. He's less of like a baby. He's not a baby in the other one, but he's older. So he's kind of got his thoughts better. But it literally takes place right after.
Yeah, because doesn't the mom...
She gets put in hospital because she's cuckoo. But yeah, rewatching the second one, it's like this whole foster kid situation. And like his like kind of like foster older sister is like a fashion icon if you watch it. The like older...
Oh, the older sister.
I mean, she's the only other foster kid the family has, so
Yeah.
it's like kind of like a sister.
So Foster's sister.
Yeah, and she kind of turns into like a major character.
Yeah, I'll have to rewatch it. It's on HBO Max, right?
It better not be, because I think I paid to rent it. I mean, like
I know
$2.
Child's Play is on HBO Max.
I may have rented both then. Whatever.
So you contributed to the 44 million.
There you go.
Putting your dollars worth
Hey,
into movies.
I'm supporting cinema.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought this movie took place during Christmas. Is it just during the winter?
I did get the impression it's like cold New York.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of shots of like those like smoky condensation kind of thing coming out of the city, and like the city just like looks cold. And she's like wearing a jacket and a scarf. So it's gotta be something like...
And that's why I thought it was like around Christmas, and like she's getting this present for him because it's Christmas.
It's his birthday.
So
Happy
I was
birthday.
wrong.
He's a Sagittarius.
Andy.
Andy. Dude, the opening with him, so cute. When he's making her breakfast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
It's
that was
so cute. And he's teeny tiny.
And his little overalls, too. Isn't he like dressed like good guy?
Good guy.
It's Chucky, right?
I thought good guy's called...
Good guy Buddi doll?
Wait, actually...
I know in the remake it's called Buddi.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of something else. But it has to do with the movie, but I'll tell you later. I guess let's get into it.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about like what we liked about the movie and disliked and our favorite scenes. So what I liked about this movie was Chucky's transformation from human to doll. We see in the opening scene is like him chanting these words, and we don't really get what's going on until we see like he's transferring himself into the doll. And it's pretty action packed because like, you know,
And doesn't it start like lightning?
yeah, there's like a cloud that's like circling outside the toy factory and like lightning strikes or something. But yeah, that's one of my favorite things. And I just love how like Chucky's look throughout the whole movie. Like his look is changing.
Yeah.
Like he looks like the doll at first, but then it slowly changes to this like pudgy, like gremlin looking doll.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, my brother used to tell me I looked like Chucky. You look like Chucky.
Oh my god.
Did you see that baby on TikTok that looks like Chucky?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. That poor kid.
What did you like about the movie?
Oh, I love so much about the movie. Even like rewatching it. I really like that 80s action. I don't know why. Just like classic.
It's like cheesy, but like
yeah. Agree with you about his look, like the costuming, everything. Like it's so iconic. And that's one of the things about M3gan too. I think M3gan's outfit and everything, very iconic.
yeah.
Which is like can stand the test of time, basically. Like
Yeah.
why it's so good. And I love the kid. He's such a cutie. He's just a sweetie kid. But yeah, I thought the whole movie, like the pacing, I like the setup. Doesn't feel too drawn out or anything. Like I like to kind of we get a good intro of like the mom and the kid, and then like we got this like background or whatever opened with Charles. Okay, so some murderer on the loose who's like in this doll. Oh yeah, and she like buys a doll off like a street guy.
Some homeless man who's like really trying to make money.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, the breakfast scene is like, so if you need a reminder, he's like watching his cartoons and his mom's sleeping and he starts making breakfast, but because he's like a little kid, he like can't. So he like overfills every bowl like with milk and like cereal going it's a giant bowl.
Yeah.
And then he like burns toast, and it's like this disgusting like big messy fucking breakfast, but he brings it to his mom and he's like, wake up, mom. Like, and it's because it's like his birthday. He like, he wants gifts and stuff. Like, it's so cute. And that does feel Christmassy.
Yeah.
Like
what
waking
I'm
your
saying.
parents up. Yeah. Yeah. I just, even like their apartment, I really liked. Like, it felt real and like, I don't know, their relationship was really nice. Like, she just seemed like a nice mom. Like, she's working the beauty counter at Nordstrom or something. And
Right. Or maybe it was Macy's.
yes, or Bergdorf's.
Or something that was like that's like not around anymore. Marshall Fields.
Oh my God.
We're old.
Kmart.
Oh God.
But like, yeah, the music, his death scene is like iconic. And the things that I think really set up the scary like vibe. When he's watching the news, when the babysitter lady friend puts the boy, Andy and Chucky, she puts them to bed. And I think Andy had said something like, Chucky really wants to watch the news. And she's like, no, it's your guys' bedtime or whatever. And then she comes out in the living room at some point and the TV's back on and she's like, thinks Andy's like misbehaving. And she goes over there and it's just Chucky watching, which is fucking creepy. And it's because he wants to watch like the news about like
the killer
himself.
Yeah, himself.
Yeah. And then all of the shots that are like his POV.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too.
Yeah. What did you like about the POV thing?
I think it's very effective. You know that it's like him walking around, but they're not like giving it away. It's so spooky.
That actually is like a really effective and scary way to do things.
And they did a lot of that in like the 80s.
Yeah.
The part where like Chucky is like climbing outside trying to get to Andy in the juvenile facility.
Like a mental ward.
Yeah, basically, because he's accused of murder.
Because his shoes matched Chucky's shoes after his babysitter got thrown out a window and clearly had blunt force to her forehead, which was Chucky. He hit a hammer.
Yeah.
And the kid is just like, it's my doll, watch. Come on, Chucky, say something. And so they're like, oh, this poor kid's like crazy.
Yeah.
Let's lock him up.
That was like one of my dislikes, was that they were treating him like an adult with mental issues.
Yeah. I mean, they thought he killed someone. So it was probably like, let's lock him up until we can like prove it and prosecute and whatever.
Yeah. But then the way they treated him, like the doctor, like giving him the...
Oh, yeah. He, like, knocks him out, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a sedative shot.
And I was like, that's, like, fucked up.
And it's because the kid sees Chucky, right?
Yep.
And he's
and
like,
Chucky's,
oh, fuck, Chucky.
Chucky's coming to get me. He's, like, climbing on the windows.
Which, like, that was one of the things. I was like, why don't you just, like, pick someone out? Like, do you have to go for this kid? Like, why don't you just go pick some kid on the street? Or, like, some, like, addict who's, like, passed out on the side of, like, a building. Or did when he talked to the guy who had taught him all this stuff, did he say it had to be Andy?
Now that you say that, like, yeah, I think so.
Maybe it was like the first person you revealed yourself to, you have to... Because I feel like I remember Charles as Chucky saying something like, what? I gotta be stuck inside this doll or a 6-year-old's body? Like, doesn't he?
Yeah. But then, like, the other movies, though, he's not pursuing Andy anymore, so, like...
Yeah. Is he pursuing anyone? Or is he just, like, a killer toy?
At this point, he's probably like accepting that he's gonna be a doll.
Oh yeah, you're right, because he can't transfer.
Yeah, it's done and over with. He's now multiple dolls.
Oh man.
And he gets married.
That's right.
And has a gay baby.
Yeah.
Or I guess gender non-conforming baby.
I remember his kid being like really emo, but I don't, and like what they looked like, but I don't remember like much else.
Do you remember who played that?
No.
The guy from Lord of the Rings. He plays like one of the hobbits.
Elijah Wood?
No. Not like the main
Oh.
hobbit, but it was like not Pippin.
Mary? It's like Pippin, Mary, Sam.
I know that he was like blonde. Anyways, I'll show you a picture and you'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
But yeah. Glenda.
What were your dislikes? Or do you have more likes that we didn't get to?
The car chase. The car chase scene is so ridiculous, though.
Yeah.
Because it's
is.
like, you clearly can tell it's like a projector.
Mhm.
But it's like it looks like he's driving really fast than he should be. Like we see like the shots where the car just like crashing and stuff. It doesn't match like the the projection.
Yeah.
So dumb. But
Yeah.
it's like hilarious.
Do you think it held up?
Yeah, I think so.
I do too.
And it has like a great 80s vibe. And like the animatronics.
Oh yeah. It actually is like really impressive.
And like the stunt double is like a little kid.
Oh my god, so funny.
Oh, one of the other dislikes that I had was like the mom walking around New York in Brooklyn at night.
Like
it's like safe for her to go to.
Oh.
She's like walking around Brooklyn and it's obviously like a shady area. It's
Right.
kind of like Skid Row here.
Yeah, exactly.
And the whole time I'm like, what is she looking for exactly? Like she was like trying to find the homeless man that sold her the doll. And like, how did she know where to look?
I guess I didn't really think about it.
It's a huge city.
Yeah.
Like, that guy could have been anywhere.
Yeah, really, truly. Yeah, you just hop on the subway and in a different borough in like minutes.
And I've been to New York.
Love New York.
Yeah, it's really pretty. I can't wait to go back. Just not in the winter. Hell no. Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
It can get pretty damn cold there. And it can get pretty damn hot there too.
Yeah. So one of my favorite scenes is the ending. And like that's when like everything goes down. Like the mom is like, she knows for sure that Chucky is the killer. He's like alive. Ugh. Okay, so the part that like bugged me was that Andy was just literally standing there as his mom was being attacked by Chucky.
Yeah.
And she throws Chucky into the fireplace and traps him in there. But like this whole time she's like trying to reach for the matches. And she's like, Andy, help me.
Oh.
And Andy's just standing there like, huh. I'm like, go, bitch.
Right. Your mom is like gonna die.
He finally does like get over there and like grabs the matches for her. She lights the flame and then throws it into the fireplace. But then there's like this huge explosion and like her ass would have got burnt. And I don't know if that was like practical, if she was actually like doing that scene.
Right.
But her hair would have been on fire.
I was gonna say, you just reminded me, but that was one thing I thought was really unrealistic is when Andy escapes that doctor's place and walks home. I'm like, he wouldn't know how the fuck to get home.
Yeah. Wait, so do we not like this movie anymore?
No, we like it. We like it. I like it a lot. That was like the only part of the movie that I was like, come on.
Right.
I just have interesting notes.
Okay.
Oh, no, the one thing I wanted to talk about was my one dislike. And I don't know if it's really a dislike, but I have spent, since I used to watch these when I was a kid, I thought Charles was like a heavyset guy with like shoulder length, kind of like balding curly hair.
Oh.
So then when I watched it, I was like, that's not the... So it's kind of like a Mandela effect for me.
Oh,
it feels like.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, that is not...
He literally looks like the guy from The Room.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, totally.
With the trench coat.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh.
He's like one of the patients.
Ricky suggested that we watch that one and review it for our mental health episode.
That's a joke.
I actually have that book. Anyway, I have some interesting notes.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah. What are your interesting notes?
Well, the first thing is something that happened to me that I thought was so funny. But when I typed in Child's Play, one of the first things that Google generated was, is Child's Play based on a true story?
Wait, someone actually...
I guess so. I know, I like couldn't stop laughing. I was like, no, there's not a big...
It was like the first Google search that populated. Like, that's so funny.
So funny.
But no, I mean, the killer is inspired by true serial killers. Charles Manson.
Oh.
And Lee Harvey Oswald, who's assassin of JFK. Allegedly. Oh yeah, James Earl Ray, who assassinated MLK.
Oh.
Yeah. So
But
there's 3 people. That's why Charles Lee Ray.
the United States government killed MLK. I just know, like, I'm pretty sure, like, it's been proven in court that the United States government is responsible for JFK's death. I mean, allegedly, I guess. I don't want to get sued. Also, so Mancini was inspired by Cabbage Patch Dolls.
Yeah.
Which is so funny. And I'm like, oh yeah, it does look like an ugly ass. And Living Doll episode of The Twilight Zone from...
Oh, so I guess that would be the first.
Yeah, and that one's a Buddi doll, I guess.
Oh.
And I did look it up and I was like, oh yeah, I can see that. I want to say the outfit reminded me of it, but... And then the last thing I was going to mention was they originally were thinking about the director from The Exorcist for this.
Oh,
William Friedkin.
Okay, so the director of The Exorcist. Okay.
Yeah, that's who they initially were like considering.
Wow. I don't think it would have been good. It probably would have been like more darker, less corny.
Yeah. I wonder, have you read the screenplay at all?
No.
I wonder if like the Child's Play screenplay was as like funny, because he is just constantly making like one-liners.
So Don Mancini stated in an interview that his original script toyed with the audience a bit longer. To make them wonder if Andy was actually the killer and like actually suffered from like a mental illness.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh, here's another fun fact. In the scene where Chucky runs behind Maggie in the hallway, which is, I think, the babysitter.
Yeah, it's like the mom's coworker, like really good friend who babysits Andy.
So Chucky was actually played by Alex Vincent's younger sister.
Oh, funny. Who's Alex Vincent?
Andy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Alex Vincent, famously known for The Shining. I'm just kidding. Because I was saying they look alike.
So Alex Vincent plays Andy in the new Chucky TV show.
That's crazy. How old is he? Like 40?
Probably. Because he was, 8 in that movie?
Well, he might have been younger than that. He was so tiny.
Yeah, totally. So another fun fact is that the film was released on the same date as the opening scene.
What?
When Charles Lee Ray transfers his soul into the doll.
That is so cool.
And that date is November 9th, 1988.
That's so cool.
Oh, no wonder I thought it came out around the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. I bet that was a lot of fun. Like sitting there seeing like the same date and being like, what?
So the Child's Play remake, I don't know if you ever saw that.
No, I didn't.
Nothing like the original. Mm-hmm. And in fact, it's closer to M3gan.
That's really interesting.
Because Chucky is more of a high-tech robot, kind of like an Alexa, but for children.
In the remake?
Yeah, the Child's Play remake. And guess who's in that?
Who?
Aubrey Plaza.
Wait, I remember that now, yeah. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I remember this. Yeah, I didn't see it, I think, because I was so offended.
It's campy.
I'm just seeing something right now that says Child's Play creator really hated the voodoo curse. So maybe that wasn't in the script because like you were saying, it was more so toying with like if Andy was just like mad or whatever.
I wonder if it's because it's kind of like cultural inappropriate.
Oh, that's why you think he might be mad about it?
Yeah.
Or
because
not
it's kind
mad,
of offensive to just
make
up some gibberish.
And it's also, yeah. And it's also like villainizing.
Yeah. Because the guy, the voodoo expert, I want to say he's like Jamaican, not Jamaican, but like, you know.
Haitian, I would think.
Haitian, yeah. My final thoughts on this movie, it's a classic. Brad Dourif will always be Chucky to me. Like, no one can replace him. Just like, you know, Robert Englund playing Freddy Krueger, like, no one can replace them.
Yeah, you can try, but.
I mean, they have.
Yeah, and nope.
All right. Well, we're going to be moving on to the real star of this show. Move over, Chucky, because there's a new doll in town.
Oh my god.
Bulletproof.
I don't know I only know the chorus.
Fire away, fire away. That's all I know.
I am titanium. That was so funny.
We are back to talk about the iconic killer, queer icon, queer icon of 2023. And we are talking about M3gan. For those of you who do not know about this queer icon, it is about a robotics engineer at a toy company building a lifelike doll that begins to take on a life of its own.
Bum bum.
Okay, so this is starring Allison Williams from Get Out in the show Girls, which I've never seen.
Oh, that's interesting. I want you to watch
Yeah.
it. We can talk about it.
Ooh, okay. Violet McGraw, which, fun fact, Violet McGraw is the sister to the actress in The Black Phone.
Yes, I did know that. Yes. Yep, because she was also in the second or the follow-up to Haunting of Hill House.
Oh.
No, I'm sorry. Wait. No, she's in Haunting of Hill House. She plays Nellie Young. She plays
you're
young
talking
Nellie.
about Violet, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Amy Donald and Jenna Davis as M3gan,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
One is the voice, one is the body.
The gymnast.
Mm-hmm.
The TikTok dancer. Which is kind of cool for that little girl.
Yeah.
I think she made up that whole dance routine.
Oh, that's
kind of like
funny.
Wednesday.
Whoa.
This is directed by Gerard Johnstone, who did Housebound, which I've seen.
I haven't seen that.
It's a good movie.
What is
It's a horror comedy,
Mm.
which, you know, comedy background like this movie.
Yeah.
Like I can see it.
Yeah.
And I also want to give a shout out to the writer of this film, Akilah Cooper. She's a black screenwriter woman. That's just amazing for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also James Wan, who, you know, he did like Saw and like Insidious.
He's a producer.
Yeah, he was a producer, but also co-wrote with Akilah.
Oh, okay.
But I think Akilah did most of the writing. So I guess we can talk about like our movie experience.
Do you want to go first?
Okay, so my movie experience, I saw this movie at the Lagoon in Uptown Minneapolis.
Oh my gosh, memories.
Yeah, shout out. I went with my brother and his girlfriend. My brother, I'll just call him Lion. There wasn't a huge crowd, which was kind of a bummer. So the audience didn't react the way I did, where I was like just literally laughing, bursting out laughing at everything.
Yeah.
Everyone else was
I
like,
bet you did.
it was like me, my brother, and his girlfriend. Like we were laughing. We were the only ones laughing. And I'm like, what is
weird.
wrong with you guys?
Yeah.
You guys are too serious.
Maybe they were robots.
Yeah, I loved this movie. I mean, it was everything that I needed, like pure camp.
Yeah.
It's action-packed, I would say.
Definitely. Oh my gosh.
A lot of comedy and a musical number.
Oh, so funny.
Like, I like that the filmmakers knew what kind of movie that they were making.
Yeah. It did have a very clear voice.
They were catering for the gays. Me.
They were like, we need to make Ricky a movie.
Totally. What was your movie experience like?
So we went to the Grove. Shout out to AMC. I am an A-list member. I had the opposite, basically. Our theater was packed and we were all laughing and like, yeah, it was super fun. Like when she started singing Titanium, like we were all laughing. Like it was so funny.
I'm so jealous.
Does she sing Titanium first, or is it when they're in that like observation room where she starts to sing? Because remember she sings some weird thing where it's like, I'm so glad
I found you. And it's like, what?
Yeah, so funny. Because she like consoles Katie because Katie's parents are fucking dead. It's like this like gruesome car accident in the beginning. Another movie where a little girl's in the car with her parents and they die. And then yeah, all of a sudden out of nowhere she just pulls out this song. But yeah, it was like really fun. Like super fun.
And like her overall look too. Why is she dressed like a London British?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like that bow tie kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's like iconic.
Yeah, I love it. She's working out.
I thought I heard something. It sounded like M3gan.
If she comes in this room, I'll rip your head right off your neck, I swear to God.
I thought about what you said. About How when something's broken, you don't just throw it away. You fix it. So that's what I'm trying to do.
But don't come in here, Katie. It's kind of a mess.
Aunt Gemma's right, Katie. I'm all odds and ends right now. I'd really rather you didn't see me like this.
It sounds like you're fighting.
We're not fighting!
Gemma just dropped me on the table. But I'm okay.
Clumsy Gemma.
So the budget for this was $15 million.
Pretty high.
Pretty high, but it's interesting because I think of other films that have had higher ones. I guess I'd have to really like conceptualize, like watch the movie and think about where the budget was going and everything. But to me, I was like, oh, it seems low, kind of. But that's just my memory.
Probably the Lamborghini.
Oh I forgot about that part. It's so funny.
They're like, this is gonna cost like maybe $1 million just to rent the Lamborghini.
Right. Box office was $151 million global.
Wow. Was that just opening weekend?
That's opening weekend, and it is PG-13.
Yeah, which helped.
But what I thought was, I mean, I'm like surprised it's PG-13 considering like the wood scene.
Oh, when Megan pulls that little boy's ear off.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad. You see it for a quick second.
I guess. I just thought PG-13 was like a little bit more strict.
They actually cut out a lot of the gorier scenes and reshot some stuff. Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, and I don't know if me and you talked about this or if I was talking about this with my partner, but it was a rated R film. And then they went, because of all the virality around the trailer and stuff, they went back and...
They're like, oh, it's blowing up on TikTok. All the Gen Z kids want to watch this.
And that like really expands your box office, honestly.
Yeah. And I think Jason Blum was comparing like Drag Me to Hell because that was PG-13.
Oh.
And it did well in the box office. So I think he was taking a risk.
That makes sense. I mean, and it still stayed really strong. So, but it'd be fun to see a director's cut or whatever.
I think they are working on it.
Hell yeah.
Can't
Best
wait.
Picture?
Best Picture nom 2023.
When did it come out? January?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Better get nominated.
All right. Megan for Best Picture, please. Watch it be nominated for like Best Screenplay in a comedy.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
that'd be so funny.
Wasn't Get Out nominated for...
Oh, it was nominated for...
Best Screenplay.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And it didn't win. It won.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It had to be qualified as a comedy.
Yeah.
What was stuff that you liked about it?
So I was, well, and you know, kind of the reason we did Chucky is I was looking forward to it because it had that like similarity, but I really, really liked that it felt a lot different.
Yeah.
Like the movies are not similar. So that was really nice. Like they didn't, as much as they compare about like a kid's toy being evil and killing, but I like that that was really different. I thought it was cool. Like I also didn't expect Megan to be like Allison Williams' experimental work thing. Like I didn't know this is about like a robotics company, and so like that was cool. And yeah, all the comedy like really, really hit. I couldn't believe like the wood scene because I mean that kid was just so terrible.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's, like, her first kill, and it's so funny, like, when she crawls.
Yeah. And when she, like, moves, you can hear, like, the hydraulics and shit.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah. Oh, wait. That's the scariest part is when she comes up from the ground.
Yeah, I love that shot.
Yeah. That is creepy, though. When the boy is fucking with her, and she... pulls his ear off, and then because she comes up knees first, kind of like a snake or something. It's like,
yeah. And I love how they shot that too. I watched like a behind the scenes of like the girl actually doing it.
Whoa, really?
Well, they had her on cables, and
okay,
like, the cable kind of pulls her up.
Yeah,
but it was
that's
actually
really
a
cool.
person doing it. Interesting part about that, Megan literally gets essayed.
Oh yeah, that was so fucking creepy.
Yeah, I'm like, this boy, he like straddles her.
Is he taking her clothes off? He's like a total
Slowly,
psychopath.
he's like taking her shoes off. Like,
yeah, and it's very clear that this kid is fucked up. Because even like his mom's like, have fun, Billy, or whatever his name is, and he's like, fuck off, cunt, or whatever he says, and you're like, holy shit. I was gonna say too, the critter toys. I wanted just really quick.
Oh yeah,
they were so funny. Because weren't they like,
yeah,
change me? I pooped. Like they were so stupid. Like yeah.
Is that supposed to make fun of like Furbies?
Probably.
It's like Furbies meets Gigapets.
A Tamagotchi or. Yeah.
But it was like pretty adjacent. I think that was the whole point.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say I really liked the neighbor lady. She was just so funny.
This kooky neighbor.
And like
she's nosy.
So nosy. And the whole thing is that entire time I was like, either of you could literally put a sack in front. It would be so easy for you guys to not have this dog go on either side.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you you could literally just put a piece of wood. But neither of them fix it. They just like yell at each other.
Right.
And I'm like, it would be so easy. What are you doing?
But that's the thing with like Gemma. She is stubborn.
Yeah.
We'll get into that later. But yeah, her death scene, that was funny.
Ooh, yeah.
It was like gruesome, but like, I mean, it wasn't like gruesome because we didn't see it happen, but we get it.
Yeah. That was also like when we saw the Chucky.
Yeah.
Because she like starts making one-liners. The way that like when her coworker's like, this is like kind of, this shouldn't replace like a parent.
Yeah.
Like that was all really, I like that. It was pretty interesting.
I wonder, did she die? We didn't see her.
No, they both lived. And I think they originally died.
Oh.
Like the original, but they both lived in this, I'm pretty sure.
Huh.
Yeah. That was, all of that. Because like, it's like Megan is doing what she's supposed to do. You know, it's like smart house, all that shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is true, but someone was talking to an AI recently, and it basically said that about humans, like that we're bad. We're like vermin, like a parasite.
I feel like I saw a video of this.
Yeah, it like happened recently, like in the past month. I know, I was like, ugh, all these idiots are still like, I get like automation could like potentially lead to like fixes to society and like equity stuff, but it's just like, what the fuck?
Have you ever used Chat GDP?
GPI?
GPT.
I haven't used any of it, no.
Oh, I used it.
How was it?
It's fucking crazy.
Oh my god.
I like told it to write a short script for me, and it just like spit out like all this stuff. Like I was like, whoa.
That's so cool and terrifying.
It is. But yeah, that's like the scary part of M3gan is that like we are relying on like technology to take over like responsibilities for us.
Yeah. That's a conversation I was having recently is like with AI and even just what is it called? Deepfakes. I'm wondering what IP is going to look like because it's going to be something.
Yeah.
This is not all going to be a free for all.
Right.
So I'm just curious because have you seen where you just use AI to change everyone's faces and like
Yeah.
Yeah. Like so if you're like making a film and it's not like journalism of any sort, right? Like the film like M3gan, you can't just like show someone's likeness. They have to sign a contract and blah blah blah. So now what they can do is just like use AI to create fake faces.
Yeah,
and
it's messed up.
Yeah, there's gonna be laws around it. I'm just like waiting to see.
Like, did you ever see that film Cam?
No.
It's on Netflix. It's another Blumhouse movie, but it's basically like some person is using their identity. It's like an AI like doing cam videos with their face on it.
Oh, creepy.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Do you want to talk about the relationship between Katie and M3gan? I thought it was like very charming.
I did too. Because Katie, like, obviously her parents are dead and like Gemma is like not very helpful at all.
Yeah.
Which part of me is like, would you really be like that disconnected?
Yeah. Because Katie's mom is her sister.
Yeah.
And she just lost her sister. So it's like, do you not have any like emotions? Like, Are you not grieving too? Like,
exactly.
Like, you're so disconnected with your family.
Yeah, and that is like a thing, and maybe it's supposed to be speaking to like the tech world and everything, like just like completely throwing yourself into it. But she was so, I'm like, could you really be this dumb?
Right.
Like to not, you know, I don't know, like just socially.
Yeah.
Like,
and like that's the thing with Gemma too, is she only cares about herself.
right.
Only for like, you know, her projects.
Yeah.
Her personal projects, what she can do to help herself. Because like she's using Katie too.
Yeah, and I will say she seems kind of like an obsessive puzzle solver. You know what I mean? Like she's like not necessarily like doing this to please her boss or to even become like a billionaire. It's more just like, I have to figure this out. I'm a genius. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe it's also speaking on like how parenting is nowadays, that parents will give their children like iPads, iPhones, and all, you know, to distract them from them. Right. And Katie has this like emotional connection with M3gan. She's like really attached to technology, and that's actually real life.
Yep. And that's kind of interesting too, because it's sort of like the first toy we see, the like, what were they called? Do you know? I just put they're called critters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Critters.
Furbies, Gigapets.
Yeah. Oh, and in the beginning, wasn't the mom kind of like, I don't want her playing with that too much?
Yeah.
Yeah, or like on her iPad too much
and
or
it's
something.
Fucking annoying too.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, just kind of like foretelling, I guess.
Yeah. And that gift was actually from Gemma.
Yeah.
So she's kind of enabling.
Yeah, she's part of like this societal shift into kids learning empathy, if that, and all these things with like things that are not human. Basically. And that is a thing, and that's like a concern, I believe, is that because you have to be able to like look into another human's eyes to learn, and you have to do this with your parents, especially, obviously, like especially when you're a baby even, but you have to like learn empathy. It's not like something you're born with. And so like you have to like see another person in these like important developmental years, and like you have to see if like you say something like that they respond, and vice, you know, all this stuff. And so if these kids are all on these toys and like devices, they're not looking at other people. Yeah. And like now that we have like the metaverse and all that stuff coming, that's gonna become like the norm. And it's like
yeah, we're like literally already going that route.
Yeah. And we have plastic in us.
To circle back to Crimes of the Future.
Yeah.
This is where we're headed, you guys.
Yeah. Crimes of the Future, M3gan.
We're going to be replaced by robots and eating plastic.
Yeah. And then in like a billion years, some other like beings are going to come here and be like, we're going to be like dinosaurs. They're going to find like human fossils and be like, whoa, there's like these like flesh sacks that used to walk around.
Dude. Yeah. I was gonna say like M3gan wouldn't have went crazy if it wasn't for that dog.
Oh yeah, because the dog triggered, like risked Katie's life or whatever.
Yeah, so M3gan I think was just learning about like death and empathy and all that stuff.
She was, and Gemma says to her, I need you to make sure Katie is always safe. Like she adds more programming that's very directly like your objective is to keep her alive and safe.
Yeah. And basically like anything that gets in our way is going to be unalived.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That part made me jump.
Oh yeah.
When she started crawling under, I was like, I know she's going to get it. I was like kind of laughing because like when she gets up, her hair is just like in a mess.
Yeah, it was so funny.
And there's like some little sassy moments with M3gan when she's like squinting at the neighbor. Yeah. She's just like...
Right? It's so funny when she's just standing in the window like staring, which I did think was kind of strange. But then later on I was like, oh yeah, it's because like people aren't supposed to know about this toy.
I did like the final battle scene with Bruce the robot and M3gan. Great climax. Like I think when M3gan's hair gets ripped off.
Like scalped basically.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like a character that like has that hairstyle.
Gollum.
Oh my god. Literally Gollum. Also, her mascara is like running down her eyes. Like, what?
Oh
Is
my
she wearing
gosh.
makeup?
Right? That's so funny.
Like,
it was cool. I mean, I think probably most people saw it coming, but it was cool. And like Katie just like looked cool, like wearing the little things. And it was very reminiscent of like a Chucky death, I would say.
It was so epic.
Yeah. We love Bruce.
And it did have the campiness, like when Gemma's grabbing like the chainsaw from the... she can't get it off the wall.
That's one thing too, is like, it's because we like build a connection with Bruce, and Bruce isn't human-like, where M3gan is human-like, but you can achieve...
Wait, was he supposed to be a toy or just like some sort of...
I don't know if she explicitly said a toy, but it was a robot she was working on, and then just kind of like...
I mean, that's an expensive ass toy. Like, who would want that?
Yeah, that's probably why.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We can't forget the iconic dance scene in the hallway.
Yeah. Duh. It was so funny. Because, it was one of those things where it was like, why are you doing that? Like, why did you sing and why are you dancing now?
Yeah.
To like some grown man. It wasn't like she had to entertain children. It was like, I don't know. It was so funny.
Yeah. I think it was much funnier when I saw it on TikTok because everyone was doing it. It was like, it became like a trend. Like, oh, can you do the M3gan dance?
Right.
The M3gan challenge. But anyways,
I'll start with my first dislike, which is I felt like Gemma would have gotten fired or something.
Oh, for not getting her work done?
Yeah, because it was like nonstop. It wasn't like she was already running late with something, and then he finds out she's working on something else that clearly is very expensive. I mean, yeah, I get like she convinces him to like move forward with M3gan, but like it was just, I don't know. It was just so, I was like, I just can't imagine like her being able to like just continue to not get shit done and like, you know?
Yeah, she was missing deadlines. She was working on her personal projects.
And that was the other thing too, is like, I was like, oh yeah, her boss is so realistic. And then later on, I was like, no, he's not. Like, I do think there is like that pressure, especially in like developmental, like tech world, because it is like, it's just like you're trying to invent the next Facebook and fucking whatever.
You're talking about her boss?
Yeah.
Ronnie Chang.
But he was maybe like a little too over the top to be realistic. But I did think like he was like a good character.
Yeah.
But he would have fired her.
Was he giving like Nepo baby?
I don't know. What else did you not like about it?
Aside from like Gemma being like a toxic bitch with no empathy to her niece, the storyline of the guy that was stealing all the M3gan files, like you really don't know if he's like working for a competitor. Yeah,
I had heard that he started stealing stuff because he was resentful, and then it like kind of just turned into something like he just couldn't stop. But I don't really know exactly what was in the original script or anything. But from what I understand, there's a little bit more context.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
And I feel like they could still expand on that in the sequel.
They could. Ooh.
Because, like, he could still be alive.
That's true. I know that, like, if you think about it, it gives M3gan a reason to kill him, I guess. Is because he was, like... Because she knows he's doing that because she's, like, plugged into all computers or something. But... And it was kind of like that's the only thing she would know of him doing that would, like, for whatever reason, justify killing him. But I'm pretty sure the original script, or maybe they had shot something, like, with a little bit more context. Okay, opening scene with the parents and Katie driving. It is so fucking snowy. And there is no way he would have kept driving. You would pull over. There's no way. So that was like the only thing that I was like, you don't even have to like they could have just slipped on ice or the snow. They didn't have to be like, oh, we're blinded by the snow storm and we're just gonna keep driving. And then, it was really scary when the thing hit the truck or whatever it was hit them. But I was like, the plow. Oh yeah, it was the fucking plow. So scary. But there's no way you would have pulled over.
Also, like, if you know it's snowing, like, why are you going up there?
Yeah.
With I don't even know what kind of car it was, but it was giving me like compact car. Like, your car's not gonna go up those It's not gonna handle all that snow.
No.
driving there.
Did they mention something about chaining the tires?
Yeah, and she was like, the mom was like, I told you to put chains on the tires, but that could really fuck up your car. Just saying.
Right. That's like, you only do it if like you live there and like just like have to. But yeah. And then my other thing, not a dislike, but I thought it was a really like big missed opportunity is, so first I thought when Megan was at the convention, like I thought that Megan was going to like mentally program all of the other Megan models. And there's going to be this like army of Megans. And I also thought the other missed opportunity was just like having the doll have diversity, because it is mentioned that I think 6 skin silicone designs. So she comes in all different ethnicities or whatever. They never show it.
I think they're saving it for the sequel.
Yeah, maybe.
Because that would be so extra. Like, it's already extra as it is. Like, to have an army of Megans, like...
I know. But it's just like, that's what it felt like was going to happen, because she's there. I mean, but I guess I don't really know if, like, they were just unveiling literally her. Like, if she's the only, like, working Megan, or if they had actually produced the actual Megan dolls. I guess I wasn't really sure on where they were at with that.
Yeah, I feel like they weren't ready to mass produce Megan, because they didn't even announce it. I think it was going to be after the announcement that they would do the production.
Oh, yeah, because they probably need the funding.
Yeah, I think that's what it was for. It was like for investors.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so fun fact. So the writer of the film said the original body count was much higher and much gorier.
Interesting.
But they hope to do an unrated cut release soon. But I'm guessing they're probably going to like release that on like Peacock, because, you know, it's produced by Universal Studios and Blumhouse, and usually they like stream on Peacock.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so we probably have a version, R-rated version, coming out soon.
Hell yeah.
Several sequences make references and homages to Child's Play.
Woohoo!
Several of the focus shots on Katie are inspired by frames of Andy in some scenes from the movie. Even the battle between Gemma and Megan is inspired by the final climax.
That's cool.
Yeah. Apparently the ending, even though it like ended on a positive note, like we're going to assume that Gemma is going to go to prison.
Right.
For the murders that Megan committed.
She's responsible for creating the monster.
Yeah.
I wonder, I could even see the next one opening with like a court case about it.
But like if Megan 2.0, if she's still...
Well, she's in, what's the other thing called? Like Linda or something?
She's literally Eva from Wall-E.
You might be right. I don't know. I had one other neat thing, and I don't remember the context of learning this, but Megan's supposed to be able to smell, and she can smell like food and even human fear. Isn't that interesting?
She can't just like detect that.
I specifically heard or read smell.
And it probably doesn't smell good.
Right, but that, yeah, she could figure out what Gemma was thinking and everything, and Katie, and like, so yeah, it's pretty neat.
I mean, I would think that like she could be able to detect like heart rate.
Oh yeah,
by just looking at you, like fucking Terminator.
Throughout the day, there's something crazy where your brain reads like 80,000 things that you're not aware of every day, and it's things like facial behaviors, body language, but it's things we're not even aware that we're watching or whatever. I don't know, I remember learning about it when I was trying to figure out like anxiety, like having like fight versus flight, and like why does it sometimes happen and you don't know why, or like how come you sometimes have like a weird feeling about someone and you don't know why, and it's because like your brain, and maybe not like your, you know, like present self or whatever, is seeing sketchiness or whatever. So if you think someone's sketchy, they probably are.
And on that note, final thoughts.
I thought it was so fun, and it didn't disappoint at all. I didn't go with like huge expectations. You know, it's a horror film, and I'm pretty like critical about them, kind of. And I also like wasn't sure about Allison Williams, because sometimes she's like annoys me, but I liked her in this. Well, if you watch Girls, you'll get it.
Oh.
Because, like, that's how I was introduced to her as Girls, and her character, Marnie, is...
That's funny.
She's, like, funny at the beginning, and then, like, eventually she's just, like, a pain in the ass. But what were your final thoughts?
My final thoughts, I think this is going to be a cult classic, for sure.
If it's not already.
Yeah. Prepare to laugh your ass off. I think it's brilliant. It's amazing. It's perfect.
You should be Megan for Halloween.
I was thinking about it.
I can see it.
Yeah, I love everything about this movie. It's a 5-star for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those are my final thoughts. Brittany, where can we find you?
You can find me at humble_book_reviews and Brittany_gusto on Instagram. Ricky, where may we find you?
You can find me at the toy store. Just kidding. No, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at somecallme_Ricky. Well, if you liked this episode, check us out on Instagram and YouTube at Paper Screen Podcasts.
We're always open for feedback and stuff on Instagram. So, like, if there's a movie you want us to do,
let us know. And on that note,
bye.
Bye.